Okay. All right, everybody. I think we are back. Sorry about that. We had a little snafu or foo bar, as we would call it in the army. Um,
Ooh, the old food to the
yeah.
bar. That's not an energy snack.
Nope. And I just had to do that. I am testing things out now. It looks like we're back up. So hopefully we are, Toby. I'll let you kind of open up again. Sorry, you're gonna have to I think you're gonna have to restate.
Well, all right. This is the Nun of Stu and the Nun, and this is our show opening part tres
Part D.
or part deux
Yeah.
or duh. Um, it's great to be back. We just recapped a couple of weeks of what I've been doing. So, do I need to go back and do that again?
I think
Happy to do that for everybody.
I think you're gonna have to give me just a sec. Um,
But while I was away, I did a couple of traveling things, and I was in Las Vegas, Nevada, as well as New Mexico, and I was able to witness what Las Vegas was like after uh, the tragic events that happened out there after the massacre, and like we were talking about a few months ago with Houston, you see the brightest in people in the darkest of times, and
hold on a second.
Vegas was a lot different, and it was great to see it with people being friendly, with people showing compassion to each other, and people honoring all those that work to serve the community as a whole, be it first responders, be it security guards, be it whatever. It's just wonderful to see that. And then from there, New Mexico up in the mountains, it got snowy. We got snowed on up there, up at elevation. It was fantastic, and we chased some bear around to make a multiple Purple Heart recipient, Texas born and bred infantryman, a guy by the name of Mark Seal, uh, make his dream of pursuing a bear come true. And we were able to do that successfully. It took us a couple of years to make that dream come true. It was the only unsuccessful adventure in the history of Veteran Outdoors until last week. And we were able to make that a success. Check that one off the list. It no longer haunts me, and we're back in business. I will leave again on Thursday, 2 days from now, to go on another Veteran Outdoors adventure. It's that time of year, man. It's that time of year.
Yep.
Every week, every weekend, we got something going.
You're gonna have to hold on a second, dude. Hold on. Ah, Facebook did not start. Um, Now we're going online. Yeah, it did not start. I got ahead of ourselves. Sorry about that. Are you getting frustrated with me?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You want to tell
Well,
us?
I'm not frustrated with you. I'm just frustrated that
Here we go. Yeah, no, it's okay. Now we're going live. Now we are live on Facebook. Okay.
hey, Facebook!
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad it could
I'm
be
the
here.
Nun. That's the Stew, and I'm gonna introduce myself for the 18th time tonight. I'm
Just
gonna do with my special I've been drinking radio voice because the amount of time it took us to get this show live, I've got a buzz on.
yeah, it's
That's right, drinking some Bullet Rye. I drink the rye, but I love the bourbon. It's uh, it's the Canadian in me that always goes for the rye. But welcome to our show. Uh, it's been going for 19 minutes unsuccessfully. This is the most successful minute of the show that's been going on. And it reminds me of that old television show WKRP in Cincinnati. And if I could have a good looking Lonnie Anderson walk through my whiskey room doors right now, I'd be pretty excited. Instead, I'm going to have a golden doodle walk through here.
there we go. Um, She was kind of a golden doodle. I'm not sure how our video is. I'll be interested to see the feedback. For those that are tuning in, we are trying to do a number of things to get better performance out of everything. So I'm not sure if we have achieved such performance yet, but know that we are working on doing that. The video looks so grainy to me, so I'll be interested to see how it goes. We have one person in there listening. Um, Good old mom, of course. Um, wow, I hear myself. So hopefully it comes across good. But man, Toby, it is good to have you back, brother. Even have you back for the third time tonight.
It's good. It's good to be back a lot. I was going to go through and reintroduce myself and go through the what I've been up to, but
Please do. Please do.
just keep it. We'll just keep it going and real fast. 2 weeks ago, I was out in Las Vegas immediately following the tragic events out there. That part was unplanned, but it was great to see the compassion of the people for the eighth time today and the 20th time in the recent history of my life. I've made this statement: you see the brightest in people in the darkest of times. That was so true out in Las Vegas. Special shout out to my main man, Jay Pappas, who's an officer out there with the Las Vegas Metro and is continuing to do great things out there. Him and his guys were doing fantastic stuff. So super excited about everything that they were able to accomplish and continue to accomplish out there. And then from there out to the mountains of New Mexico and did a little bear hunting and got back on the winning side. We had one hunt in the history of veteran outdoors, one adventure that was incomplete, and that was for a multiple Purple Heart recipient out of Texas, a wonderful gentleman by the name of Mark Seal, an old school grizzled veteran that gave a lot for our country, to include an entire career, both regular retirement and medical retirement in terms of his time served. And we're able to make that dream come true, and I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to go back out on another Veteran Outdoors adventure starting Thursday, 2 days from now. But in the meantime, I've been working at the home office, getting many things done, getting caught up on 2 weeks worth of work, and preparing for the opening night of Hockey Beer League. And, anyone that knows, Hockey Beer League is the most important thing. You got to get ready for it. Emotionally.
What is Hockey Beer League? I coach 14 and under kids. We don't have that.
Yeah, so that's the league that doesn't have beer in it.
Yeah, we're the hockey non-beer league, I guess. As we should be at that age.
Yeah,
as we should be.
And I'm sure ours is a little more mature. Less cheap shots.
Yep.
More mature conversation on the bench.
Less testosterone and puberty.
Oh, way less.
And
way
puberty.
Less.
No puberty hormones firing it.
No wild puberty hormones going on.
Yeah.
But it's great to be back, man. It's great to see you. I've missed you, my brother.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of what you've been able to do in my absence. You had Sarah Leon. Can't say enough about that young woman. She is just an inspiration to many. And I'm excited to keep having her back. I'm trying to, like you, trying to make her a regular fixture on the show as much as possible. And then having my main man, Kelly Krieger, on, which was fantastic. I love hearing what he's doing, especially when he's saying good things about Graybeard Publishing, because that just makes me all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah. No, it was Sarah it's kind of like having her on. It's kind of like back when we used to have Wendy on, right, on our old show, because there's something about that the female perspective and softness and whatever, but it kind of just rounds things out and just gives a different perspective. So it's sometimes a little bit too much testosterone, I think, on here, and sometimes the women can be a little bit more of a voice of reason. But I didn't say that. Don't tell my wife I said that.
No, I never will. But I also want to compliment you on your awesome choice in apparel. As always, our show is brought by Enlisted 9 Fight Company.
That's right.
Active duty owned and operated. Command Sergeant Major Dan O'Brien.
right?
That's right, keeping it real, and he's out there doing great things and just really uh, helping out, uh, making a great veteran impression out there in the Hollywood area. Sergeant First Class Colton Smith, professional fighter, winner of the Ultimate Fighter television show, as well as, being the only active duty soldier to compete at that level, both in the UFC and the World Series of Fighting, and now the Professional Fight League. I believe he's going to be making an announcement relatively soon that he's going to be beating somebody up for a good reason. Probably the reason of money in First Family. So look forward to that and hearing about that in the near future. But Enlisted Nine, great company. You can find them at Grunt Style. They're part of the Grunt Style family of distribution. They are a standalone company, but they've partnered with Grunt Style in terms of marketing and distribution. So you can go to gruntstyle.com/enlisted9 and you can find all their great things. I'm also wearing Enlisted 9. This is a I Got Your Six, and look forward to seeing more about them. And we are grateful that they're the supporters of the show that they are.
Yeah.
Follow them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, and that's right.
All right, dude. We are continuing to have video problems. Looks like our feed just dropped on Facebook again. I hope people are watching us on Twitch and Periscope. It looks like we are still rock solid on those. But it looks like Mr.
Periscope.
No, the Mr. Zuckerberg is not working with us tonight.
For some reason. Personal?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it's and the sucky thing is that on Facebook, as soon as it ends, you have to reset up everything again, which is really, really a bummer here. Yeah, we are frozen. We are not broadcasting. We are broadcasting on the other two. You want me to stop this and restart it and just
That's your decision, my man.
Pick up where we left off.
Your decision.
Yeah, let me see if I can make something happen here before I go. That it looks like Facebook is back up now. I just got to do the stupid stream key thing. Oh my lord, I don't know what. What is going? I am broadcasting, transmitting through Toronto. I would think.
I'm excited to talk about Toronto here once we get this all worked out.
Yeah.
There's some very important stuff I want to talk to about the Toronto area.
In the Toronto area. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna have to things earlier. I probably disabled something I shouldn't have disabled. Okay, we're connecting back now. And as soon as I see the Facebook thing come up. Okay, here we go. I think one thing we'll be bugging everybody, telling them that we're back on. We're back on. Okay. All right. And now, okay, so thank you for joining us. Sorry for that little commercial break. That commercial was brought to you by we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're all screwed up. And probably dead air, I would imagine, is what you got.
It's brought to you by Bush League non-beer.
Bush League beer from Trader Joe's.
Bush League bourbon. This is brought to you by Bush League bourbon.
This is Trader. Hold on, let me show you this. This is Trader Jose. This is not Trader Joe's. It is Trader Jose. So we will see how that goes. Man. So anyway, sorry, we've been having a few video things tonight. You know, this is what happens when you're trying to make tweaks and do things and all that stuff, and then you go live. And you know, Toby, I gotta say, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, my friend, but the last 2 weeks of shows went really smooth.
I think it's me. I think I'm the issue, even though I have no technical control over the show. I believe it's just my presence screws everything up.
Um,
I try not to take it personal,
it's your
but it
awesomeness.
could
You're
be,
like
maybe.
you're like it's the head, dude. That bald, beautiful head is like a
Mm,
walking EMP. I think it throws Facebook. I keep mine. You notice I keep mine covered up. I usually wear a hat every
yeah.
week. I think,
Maybe I should put foil on.
yeah, you should make a nice foil hat. That would be. I'm sure there's probably some people that think you wear one sometimes. Yeah, you are down here, and you are down there in Jade Helm country. I'm just saying, not saying you're anywhere related to that, but yeah. So we are back, uh, and we are rocking and rolling here. Um, So we're going to start building our audience back. We have started now 3 times on Facebook, which is not a great thing to do to keep an audience if they have to keep reconnecting.
No, they they
So,
they typically get frustrated and leave.
but our numbers are all looking good now. I think we fixed a few things. So Toby, if you want to, yeah, we definitely fix them. There's all kind of technical stuff. I don't want to go into the details, but just know that I screwed it up trying to fix it. So there we go. I'll take the hit on this one. This is completely on me. The
Mm.
reason we didn't have problems the last 2 weeks is because I didn't screw with things the last 2 weeks. So I no way I can blame it on you, my brother. But
Oh, that's all right. That's all
yeah,
right.
we are not dropping frames, as they say. We have good throughput, and
Mm.
everything is looking
Throughput.
5 by 5 on this end. Matt Bernard just joined, so we got somebody back. Hey, what's up, Matt? And hopefully, Matt? Let me know. Can you hear us okay? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us okay and the video's coming through. It has been a rough night so far, and hopefully, or just tell us who we're here and
So
start.
lots to talk about.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you, we need to get into the show now, right? We're 30 minutes in, and maybe, excuse me, maybe now we can. All right, I got a thumbs up, so I think we're sounding and looking good.
All right, let's get after it.
Yeah, so Jane Fonda pleaded guilty. Oh wait, no, Jane Fonda should plead guilty. You like that one? I did
Yeah,
a little mashup there.
Slipping that one in there.
Yeah,
Tried giving it the old Jane Fonda. You were like, and
Jane Fonda
while
pleaded guilty to using a bump stock in Afghanistan, and in the process of that, groped a whole bunch of actresses. And there you go. That's your 10-second news mashup. But no, seriously. Um, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So what do you want to talk about, man? You've been gone. You told us about the bear hunting several times because we had restarted a couple times. Doing great stuff with VO, just like you did when you guys went down there, fought fires in Houston. In fact, let's talk about that. Let's put that right up front. Man, we got the fires in California that are just killing
yes,
people and just destroying, I mean, everything. All of that right on the heels of Puerto Rico, of Florida, of Houston. I think people are, I mean, it's sad to say they've probably forgotten about Houston, probably forgot about Florida, you know?
like yeah, no, it's been a year where everyone's been tested, and I want to take a moment to talk about one family in particular, and that's the Jinx family out of Napa, California. Uh, Susan and Tom Jinx, they're the owners of the Robinson Family Vineyards, Exley District. They are longtime family friends and supporters of any veteran endeavor I've engaged in, be it Soldiers Angels, be it Veteran Outdoors, be it anything that I've asked them to do. They are the most wonderful family. They got 3 amazing daughters, Carrie, Robin, and Kim. They are just the most delightful family. They've built this amazing clan. All 3 girls are married. They have kids. They all work at the vineyard. Uh, when I was in Houston, doing stuff with Veteran Outdoors, the flood rescues and that such, they immediately reached out. How can we help? And even 2 weeks ago, I got a shipment of stuff to my house to make sure that it got to people that needed it. While I'm away last week, I get a notification that the fires are like ravishing the Napa Valley, to include their vineyard, to include their neighborhood, their Stag Leaps district. Uh, Here's a family that bonded together. The sons, the husbands of the daughters, all got out there with Tom, the patriarch of the family, and help fight this fire, help protect their family's livelihood. But here's a family that a week before were still making sure that they were sending stuff to help people that they've never met, knew nothing about, uh, and have no tangible connection to, other than they just want to do something good. And now here they are on the opposite side of that spectrum. And I just want to just identify that there's some amazing people in America. There's some amazing people in North America. And anytime someone like says that they're not proud of America, like Miss Fonda said earlier this week, um, you know, I know that they just don't understand. Like, it doesn't even offend me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't even ping on my radar because they just don't know. They don't understand. I know that she went over and saw the country of Vietnam. I know that she's traveled the world, and she's done a lot of activism stuff. Uh, but when you say that you're not proud of America, and you see how the people of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Arizona, New Mexico responded to the hurricanes, you're like, you just know that there's someone looking for attention. When you see how the families and the communities responded to the wildfire, California, Oregon, Washington State, Idaho, you know that she's just blowing smoke. She has no concept, and she's not in touch with reality. When you live in the concrete jungle and you're surrounded by an echo chamber, you have no idea what's really going on. So when you make statements like, I'm not proud of America, you just don't know America. You haven't met her. And I got to tell you, I'm not even an American, and I can't wait to become one, because it's going to be the proudest day of my life next to the birth of my children. Like, you just don't get it. And when these athletes, they continue, like today they had a meeting about, like, maybe the league needs to better understand that protest or whatever. It's like, that, hey, do whatever you want to do. Like, you got that right. When you do it, you just show your ass.
I want to, right, real quick while you're on that, I heard a good comment today. It was on the 5 or one of the shows, and it was like, these guys are at work, and guess what? At work, there's no such thing as freedom of speech. You can't go into work and say whatever you want. There's no constitution. In fact, the Supreme Court has ruled that the freedom of speech and some of those things do not apply at your place of employment. They do not have to recognize that. They're a private business. You can't go into work and say whatever you want and cry freedom of speech. You can't go in there and call your boss whatever and tell him F off and say, hey, freedom of speech, you don't want to say what you want. No, you can be fired. The Supreme Court ruled on that. These guys are at work, and it was the best argument I've heard yet. I was like, yeah, they are. You don't get that choice. If you want to protest, we've talked about it here on the show the last couple weeks, even before you left. You want to protest, go outside, go walk around, have a banner, whatever. But you're at work, and guess what your work is, monkey boy? Entertaining us. So dance and catch balls and make touchdowns and tackle and whatever. But it was the best thing I heard, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you don't have that freedom. And then they talked about the Supreme Court ruled on it. You cannot say whatever you want. Get fired, right? You can't. And it would be nice, but it wouldn't be good if your boss or your employee comes in and says, all kind of stuff, and then you can't do anything, right? Just like why companies,
Well, I mean, like,
just like why businesses,
wanna...
why businesses like in Texas have the 30-06 rule, right? It's not because of the rifle; it's actually the ordinance, but they can say don't bring any guns in here.
That's right. Like, you absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. And there's a young man that plays hockey. His name's JT Brown. Um, like, he's finding out the hard way that having a protest at work isn't well received. He's a hockey player that decided that while the national anthem was being played, he plays for the Tampa Bay Lightning, that he was going to raise his fist and show solidarity with people that he feels a fellowship and solidarity with. And the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning said, "Hey, I appreciate your position. Unfortunately, it's not welcome on my time. Uh, we'll continue to pay your contract, but you're not going to play."
Right.
Like your your season's over. You're 2 games into the season, and you worked hard to earn the spot. You're going to get paid the basis of what we're contractually owed to you, but you're not going to work for this team anymore. Clean out your locker. I
Right.
hear the golf course is nice this time of year.
Yeah, just like NASCAR said,
And
right? NASCAR said,
yeah,
if you want to kneel, we'll buy you a bus ticket. You'll be off the track before the checkered flag drops. Right.
like, and I get it. I absolutely get it. And there are things that I've seen in my travels in my time that warrant attention being brought to them. However, just like this young man that's graduated from one of the finest institutions in America, the United States Military Academy, is learning. You know,
Oh,
when you violate,
the Che Guevara guy, the commie lover.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you violate the contractual obligation that you've made, you can't cry foul. When and you sign an ethics agreement, a morality agreement, and you swear allegiance and you become part of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. I want to say it's Article 87 or maybe it's 88, that you can't say anything disparaging against the commander in chief, the vice president, the secretary of defense, or any of your commanding or superior officers in a public forum. You can't disparage the chain of command. The guy called General Mattis one of the most vile human beings, an evil person, or that's I know the words vile and evil are part of the quote. Like, hey, bro, you can't get away with that. I appreciate that you have a different, you know, political position. When I was in the striker unit, the Third Brigade of the Second Infantry Division, Arrowhead, which is now the Ghost Brigade. There was a young second lieutenant that felt that the war in Iraq was an unjust war. It was an illegal war. For whatever reason, he had developed that opinion. He was in a unit that, was crucial in the war on terror, both in Iraq and as part of enduring freedom in Afghanistan. And that's that position that's counter to the chain of command is not welcome. And it's not welcome not because it's unpopular. It's unwelcome because it's in direct violation of the chain of command, and we can't have that. And you agree to those terms when you raise your hand and you sign your name. You agree to those terms when you receive your commission. You agree to those terms when you get that DFAS payment into your account on the 1st and the 15th. So, like, I appreciate your position. I respect that you've developed it through whatever thought and logic that you have, because who am I to judge one man's intelligence to another? However, if you enter into a contract, be it social, verbal, written, you gotta honor it. That's the basis of being a man.
Right. Right.
The
The
basis.
basis. Hey, you made a comment earlier, and I thought of Sarah when you said it. And she quoted it in the comments, and I was going to mention her as someone that would recognize it, but you made a comment of, if you're not proud of America, then you haven't met her. And she came to mind because of Sarah, going across country, right? And think of our good
No
friend,
greater example.
right? And our good friend Scott Kesterson, who we've had on multiple times, who's also going across country, talking to people and meeting them, and just as we have done, right? We just run into people, whether you're biking across country, driving across country, or you're just flying through an airport, and you just get talking to someone that's decent, that has some common sense and just has some civility to them, in the words of our good friend Matt Goss. Just
Yeah.
and that's America. America's not the talking heads you're looking at on the TV. America's not the keyboard warriors that are hammering out some blog post or on some news site or website or whatever. America is the people you meet every day, the people you meet at a campground, the ones that are behind you in a store or front of you in a store that are short a couple cents, or you are, and they throw in a couple cents of, here, I got you covered, right? Or they pay it forward and pull, you go in the drive-through and someone says, oh, they bought your coffee. Someone you don't even know. It's that's what this country, or better yet, America's the people that are carrying people out of floodwaters, people they don't know, risking themselves, or
Yeah.
trying to help put out a fire, or anything like that, right? That's
So, so you just said something that perfectly encapsulates America, and I just want to draw attention to it really fast. You talked about the paying it forward in the coffee drive-through. When you realize that you live in a country that you don't even have to get out of your automobile because the majority of the country have an automobile. That's like we waste more water urinating than most countries have to drink. Like we piss in better water that people we piss in better drinking water to flush in our toilets than the majority of the world have to consume.
yeah.
You are in a vehicle, driving in a vehicle, and you're so blessed that you have enough resources to own that vehicle, fuel that vehicle, and drive it to a place where you can get served a luxurious $5 coffee
And you get
through a
nice you
window.
get you get nice coffee. I'm just saying.
Dude, like,
But you're
can you
right.
get anything
No,
for
dude.
for under $5 at Starbucks? I don't think so.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you probably not a good size one. And you're
But
right though. I say that when I used to fly a lot more than I do now. But when I would fly and I would see people freak out on a plane and they'd be so mad because the movie just went down or Wi-Fi went out or whatever. I'm like, you are in a tube at 30,000 feet, flying 300 miles an hour, going thousands of miles in a couple of hours on the internet, connected to anyone around the world you want, and watching a
yeah,
movie on a screen in the back of a seat, and you want to complain about it, right? Not even counting just being in a plane, not even counting maybe being in a comfortable seat or getting a drink, but you have all these things, and yet I've seen it so many times, and I know you fly quite a bit. You've seen it too. People just having a meltdown,
yeah.
right? It's like you realize you're in a tube, like defying all laws of gravity, and just hurling through the space, through the sky at thousands of miles, at hundreds of miles of hour. It's like, okay, your perspective's all wrong. But that
Well, and that's the thing. It's like when people are so angry and people are so filled with bitterness and hate that they can look past these simple things. Jane Fonda, she's traveled the world. She's seen many different things. She's an activist. She's an actress. She's the inventor of that weird fire hydrant type stretch that we have to do in PT that used to drive me nuts.
the dirty
You know,
dog.
like
Did she invent the dirty dog?
it's the dirty dog, aka the Jane Fonda.
My man Ryan Irvine,
The
who's listening, who was a Geronimo with me, 501st, who, yeah, he knows the dirty dog. Yeah, that was that was
the
the dirty dog.
you have the audacity to say these things. I remember Michelle Obama, former First Lady of the United States, made a comment about saying like it'd been a long time since she'd been proud of America. It's like you are at the pinnacle of America. You sleep under that white dome every night.
Yeah,
Like how can you not be proud of the country that made it possible for you to be in there?
I
And
mean,
I'm not talking about race. I'm not
oh yeah.
talking. I'm just talking about you as an individual.
Well, Toby, you've been. I mean, I'm big into travel, and not only have I traveled a lot, but growing up as I did all over, lived outside the country. All of my kids have went outside the country. They have traveled a lot for that exact reason, to be appreciative of what we got. You can go to a westernized country somewhere else. You can go to Australia. You can go to England. You can go to many places, or you can go to real shitholes. Um, but you only need to go out to come back and realize how spoiled and how well we have it. And it's actually pitiful. Sometimes you don't need to go outside the country. You can go to some very depressed places here, and then go home and realize how well you have it.
Yeah, no, like it's really interesting. But you know, we have as a culture, as a society, we have this misconception that we know better and we know best, and the grass is greener. Uh, I don't think Bo Bergdahl's thinking the grass is greener today. Like,
No.
here's a guy that allegedly uh, abandoned his post because he felt that his leadership didn't understand the complexities, didn't understand the situation, and of course, anytime a private first class knows better than, like a brigadier or a major general, I find it interesting, with all that additional education that the PFC has in comparison to like the 3 degrees that the general has.
Right, right.
But we're the 30 years worth of experience. But
Dude, he can't hold a candle to what his squad leader and platoon sergeant have. Right.
right, no, like he's that good. Although he was good enough to sneak off post. I mean, like let's not disparage the guy too much. He had the skill set to slip out. But he pled guilty. He pled guilty to avoid the trial. It's very public. The rationale in terms of his pleading guilty was to avoid continuing the trial court martial to which soldiers, sailors, and I say sailors because of naval special warfare, were taking the stand to talk about the injuries that occurred in attempts to rescue and locate him. Um, you know, if he continued on with the court martial process, he was undoubtedly going to be found guilty. And the punishment. The only thing was the level of punishment that he was going to attain. And pleading out, I believe he's going to take a fair punishment for what he did. I know some are going to disagree with me. They're going to say that he deserves more, but I personally think that what he's going to get pleading out is going to be fair, and more than we could have expected if this court martial was to have taken place 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's no, I mean it was I was very back when I was blogging a lot more than I was. I mean I got connected to the family. I had a lot of people on the ground there, had intel. I knew early on what the real deal was. Couldn't say anything for opposite. They were trying to find him, and the public just didn't know. And I wasn't going to use boohammer.com to be like, oh, this guy's actually a piece of shit who walked off. But you know, and even when I had connections with close ties to the family, and I was trying to get them on in one of the older radio shows and tried to get, they wouldn't do it, but we knew. So when it all came out, it's like, yeah, everyone that was in kind of knew, and of course the public was surprised, like what? But I'm glad to see that he wised up for whatever reason and pled guilty. What I don't understand is how he thinks, or his attorney thinks, this excuse of why he's pleading guilty is gonna holds water. So his excuse is, well, he can't get a fair. I mean, if there's not, we already knew he's a quitter because he walked off his base. So the weak excuse that he was going to walk off with his knife and notepad and pen and go find some other commander somewhere in the same province that I used to tromp around in. So he wasn't. I know exactly where he was and where he came from. He wasn't finding anybody. But then he said he wasn't. The reason he was pleading guilty was because he could not get a fair trial because of what President Trump said. That's the reason. So he's just quitting again. Like, there's no way he can get a fair trial. I guess he hasn't. Him and attorney had never heard of the concept of a mistrial. I don't know, but he's he's saying that thinking the world's believing it. We know the truth. The truth is there's probably a lot more damning stuff in there, and if he goes all the way through, that he's just going to get hung out to dry. It had to be so bad that he's like, I'll just admit it now, and rather than let all the details come out, what my Haji captors did to me or whatever else.
Well, I mean, so I mean, you and I are both intelligent, accomplished non-commissioned officers. You're absolutely correct. He's not getting a fair trial. And the reason he's not getting a fair trial is because he's not getting a trial. He's getting a court martial.
Which he elected to be done by a judge only, no jury.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the best chance that he had. If it went to jury, it would have been malicious.
Well, he only had to convince one person, right? That I'm assuming that's
right.
why they didn't have to gamble on it, because it's not even an unanimous jury. I think in a court martial,
but
depending on the
we're talking about a situation where the facts are so overwhelming.
Yeah,
that it doesn't matter what podcast you go on. It doesn't matter what interviews you give to different news networks. None of that plays into anything with the Uniform Code of Military Justice. When you're talking about a court martial, not a trial. So his lawyers can say that stuff, and it's great, for headlines. It's great for political stuff. But the bottom line is, the president of the United States is the commander in chief. He is a man. He is a man or a woman that has an opinion, that has a bias. You took that and you accepted it by saying that you wanted a court martial by judge only. You're taking a court martial by an educated military officer that knew that doesn't matter if you went through ROTC, if you started off his prior service and went through a basic training somewhere, that the very first thing he learned was, I will guard everything within the limits of my post and quit my post only when properly relieved. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, baby. GO1. I mean,
General Order 1.
30 years ago today, I came in the Army. Not 30 years ago today. 30 years ago this year. Right now, I was in airborne school, and I still know General Order number 1. Dude. 30 years. Jesus Christ.
You broke the trust.
Yeah.
You broke the trust and you bit the hand. It doesn't matter where you're going to get the trial. You're not getting a fair trial because you're getting a court martial.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm innocent until you prove me guilty. You've already been proven guilty. That's what the Article 32 is.
That's right.
You've been delaying the sentencing phase for 3
years. It's just a matter of how. It's just a matter of how guilty, right? Yeah. How guilty.
And you can say whatever you want. The reality is you've been hiding in San Antonio doing desk job, living in, an apartment down on the Riverwalk, flying back and forth to Fort Bragg, so that you can make these appearances so people don't really know you and stuff. The bottom line is you've been getting over.
Yeah.
And you've been delaying it, and you were hoping the election was going to give you a different outcome. You appealed to the President of the United States, the guy that stood before your father and your mother in the Rose Garden and said that you served with honor and distinction. You put all your chips into the bank, from like the Susan Rices and all those people within that administration that went around with these talking points.
And he saw what happened to Manning, and he's probably like, "Oh yeah, that's all I need, right?"
Yeah, I just need to be commuted.
Yeah.
Wrong.
So what do you think? So we know I want to keep. So we know we can get 5 years for the one AWOL and 20 or life for causing harm to others, which really was a serious crime. Look, I'm Toby. I'm sure you agree with me. You want to walk off and be an idiot and get yourself killed? Well, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, right? But like he said the other day, he didn't mean for anyone to search. He said he didn't mean or intend for anyone to go searching for him. What did he expect us to do? We are not the North Korean military. We are not the Iraqi army. We're going to go searching for our own, regardless if you had your head up your ass or not. And that's the crime, right? Are the guys and gals and the soldiers, I know multiple Afghans were killed. Several U.S. soldiers, a couple of I profiled on my blog back when it happened, were killed. Many were wounded, looking for this guy. Everything that happened that was going on in the country, I had many people that were friends that were in country at the time. Everything stopped, and I was working for the government at the time as a contractor, and tell you everything was focused on this guy. Everything, our momentum, combat operations, op tempo, progress we were making, everything stopped and shifted, and resources completely focused. Aerial assets, ground assets, everything went to finding this guy. I mean, it had to be millions of dollars spent to find this guy, not even counting the lives.
He can say whatever he wants, and he can kind of hide behind this naivety that he didn't know. However, the reality is that you're taught up front these 3 general orders. Before you deployed, you had to have your picture taken, and you had to give challenge words and challenge phrases.
New. That's new, right? In the last 17 years or so, they didn't used to do that. We used to not have the recovery stuff. That's a new
Yeah,
thing.
but I mean, he deployed during a time when they had it.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So like he knew up front, no matter what happens, and we have a culture of leave no man behind, leave no person behind, however you want to word it. Like his naivety doesn't excuse him.
Yeah.
His unwillingness to believe doesn't excuse him. Over under on him getting life. I'm taking the over. He's getting life.
Yeah. Yeah. He may.
I mean I think he'll serve probably 15.
Yeah. But
You know, and I imagine in 15 years there's going to be a change in government. There's going to be a change in thought process, and
no, I don't think. I think after
the ebb and the flow of
I think after the
administrations, and
embarrassment.
you
I
know he'll
mean,
probably get a walk.
yeah. I don't.
But in the end, what's going to happen? He's going to be like that gentleman that defected to North Korea. You know, like what's his life going to amount to?
Yeah. I don't. I
He
don't
needs
think.
to stay in prison because no one's going to hire him.
Yeah, I don't think any administration is going to touch him.
Yeah,
I don't.
I
I
mean
mean,
he's
the embarrassment that President Obama got by being there with the parents. I mean, that was pretty damning, and it's being thrown up all over the place now in memes as another bad decision or out of
right.
touch foreign policy president he was.
But we're talking about memes. We're not talking about media.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, no one that I've seen in the week that we've had the knowledge. We knew last week he was pleading guilty, and then he finally pled guilty and did the plea deal yesterday. Not a single major news network has touched on the fact, and correct me if I'm wrong, in all my searches and all my little things that I've done to look for this, not one of them has touched on the fact that we traded 5 high value targets that we had in custody for him, and there was cash.
yeah.
So we
Oh,
we paid
and guess what?
we
They don't know
paid
where
cash,
they don't know
and
where
we
the five
traded
are.
5 with a recidivism rate of 60%. That means 3 of those guys went back to fighting America.
They don't know where any of the five are. They're supposed to stay in Qatar under house arrest,
No,
they
they're
have no
not
idea where
there.
they're at. Right? Yeah.
But we know like 3 have already had connection to ISIS, Al Qaeda.
Right.
You know, like so no one's even touching that. No one's even touching the fact that by getting this guy back, we did this.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so like I say that he'll get sentenced to life. He'll serve 20. Somebody will like say, okay, this guy's like worthless. You know, let's stop paying for him, which is great. Uh, the best chance this guy has in life. He's clearly not intelligent enough to survive. I'm not making fun of him.
No.
One of the reasons why he stayed alive with the Taliban is they believe that he was touched.
Yep.
They
That's
believe
absolutely right.
that he was mentally retarded. I'm not saying that in a facetious way. I'm not saying it in an insulting way. I'm saying it purely factual. They felt that he suffered from a retardation. They felt that he was soft. They felt that he was touched by Allah, and that's one of the reasons why he lived.
Yep, you're absolutely right, and that is fact, people. That is why he was spared as long as he was. They gained really nothing out of him.
Yeah.
They had no idea they were going to get a trade for 5 other people. That was
No,
never
they hit the lottery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like they hit the lottery.
And to answer your question, Ryan, yeah, they can't execute him. He wasn't convicted of treason during wartime. So, in your words, shooting his ass is not on the table anymore. Even though I'm sure many would like it to be, that is not to be. So he'll go serve his time. He'll have a bad conduct discharge. I'm sure he'll get busted all the way down. He will not reap any benefits. Will never get a federal job. However, maybe if he ever does get out, maybe he can go teach at Harvard because they seem to like to bring in the despicables, not the deplorables, but the despicables.
Only till someone calls him on it.
Until someone calls him on it, yeah. But no, and then on the other thing you hit on, we're getting late in time because we started late, but I want to get through a couple things. Is the you did hit on the Jane Fonda thing. Talk about somebody trying to reignite their 15 minutes of fame. I hadn't heard from her forever, but she knew exactly what gas to throw on the fire in order to make sure that she got some relevance again. And then, but again, Jane Fonda hates America. That's not news breaking, right? I think everyone had that down pat. What is surprising and disturbing is the story that came out today of Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's a pretty American place. That's a pretty, center of the flyover state kind of area. Four city council members taking a knee, not during the national anthem, Toby, during the Pledge of Allegiance. So the start of a city council meeting, something that, in our schools here, they still recite the Pledge of Allegiance on the announcements in the high school. I was so glad to find that. I didn't even realize they still did it here. But four Ann Arbor city council members taking, what exactly would they achieve, or what is their purpose of doing that? You are an elected member of a nation that.
Well, you already answered the question. The reason why people do this is the same reason why city council members of cities like Seattle, ask their constituents to protest and to boycott the government. Um, People do things like this so that they can demonstrate to their constituents that they have a position. Now, by holding that position, they don't understand the implications of it, right? These city council members that are elected, that are taking a knee for the Pledge of Allegiance, are violating the very oath that they're sworn in when they take that office. So apparently, they haven't put that all together. But the biggest thing is they just want attention.
Yeah.
They see that Colin Kaepernick has started this thing, and now it's a major national discussion, and they're really trying to keep themselves relevant and current. These are the people that started Snapchat accounts like last month, and that are still getting the little fuzzy ear like things. These are people that are irrelevant in life, that are trying to make themselves relevant through some form of social cause. They have no attachment. I saw that picture. There's no one in that picture that can righteously say that they've been the subject of police oppression. They can't say that they've been the subject of police brutality, and that local police department have an outstanding record.
Yeah.
And they're the people that are going to pull out of their gated community and drive down to their cubicle job, and probably get pulled over tomorrow because every cop, every cop, sheriff's deputy, law enforcement agency is like, we need to watch these cats. And if they weren't profiled before, they're being profiled now.
Absolutely. One of them said,
and it's not racial profiling. It's intelligence.
Idiotic profiling. the one lady, the one female I think that did it, said she was taking a knee to show solidarity with the group of people who've been doing it at the national level. There's a lot of stuff done at the national level. Harvey Weinstein is getting a lot of attention on what he does at the national level. There's shootings happening, there's murders happening all the time. A lot more. I mean, think about it. Our nation, what are we, 300 million people, 320 million? No.
Sure.
Is that what we're at? 320, something like that?
Yes, sir.
How many people are taking knees in national anthems, football players? 40, maybe 50 on the high end. That's not a freaking squirt. I mean, it's not even a drop off a squirt. It's like, that's nothing at the national level. There's a lot more shit happening at the national level. There's more apparently female teachers molesting young boys at the national level than there are taking knees. There's more.
That's a true fact.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kind of stuff. So to say something that stupid is just idiotic. I can't even believe it. But
it's a perfect example of Instagram fame. It's a perfect example of social media vanity.
Right.
I've been watching this jackwagon.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
He's representative of this organization called Vote Vets.
Oh, I know what jackwagon you're talking about.
And I've been watching this guy, and he was a lance corporal. He amounted to nothing in the Marine Corps, very little experience, and he's just this guy. And he started off with 100 Twitter followers, and now he's over 10,000. And all the guy does is troll Donald Trump. That's all he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter like how he goes after Trump or what he goes after Trump for. He just grows people because that's what he wants. He wants to be famous. He wants to be known for the guy that is like trolling. Now, these people that are taking a knee and having this moment, as they do the Pledge of Allegiance, they think they're showing solidarity. They think they're showing fellowship. They think they're showing resolve, but all they're showing is they don't comprehend what they're doing.
Right.
They don't comprehend the message. Everyone talks. The big buzzword right now is virtue signaling and value signaling. These guys don't understand signaling. Period.
like red star cluster signaling. Yeah.
You stand there and you take a knee and you say like you don't pledge allegiance to this flag, but you serve in its government.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like that's like me saying as the company commander, I'm in the worst unit on earth. Like, well, then that's a direct reflection on me.
Yes, this is the worst company. This is the worst company I've ever led and served with. Yes, exactly.
And the irony, is awesome. The sad part is what we're teaching our youth. Right. The sad part is what we're teaching our kids is that if you don't like something or you don't like someone, that you can do certain things. What we're not teaching our kids, what we're not teaching the youth, and what we're not teaching the future of America and North America is that if you don't like something, do something about it.
Right.
Like Colin Kaepernick started all this. A great guy that was co-host on the show, a guy by the name of Travis Cox, sent a video to Colin Kaepernick 2 years ago that we know for a fact that he was forced to watch. It got played for him. And in that video, as well as the letter and the visit that Nate Boyer wrote to him and then visited him, one thing was said. Hey, look, got that you have this idea to protest, got that you have these views. You have a platform, but not only do you have a platform, you have ability. So back your platform up with action. And what we're not teaching our kids is to act. Protesting peacefully isn't acting. That's making a statement. That's not action. You want to help community policing? Hey, NFL guys, in the words of Dr. Mike Simpson, former guest of the show, why don't you, in the off season, go to the police academy and become sworn officers, and in the off season, like serve in your communities.
Yeah, be a reserve officer. They can even do that.
Hey, Shaquille O'Neal, just saying.
Yeah.
You don't see Shaquille O'Neal saying jack or shit about police brutality. You know why? Because Shaquille O'Neal has a master's in criminal justice and serves as an off-duty police officer and as a card-carrying, badge-carrying sworn officer of Orange County, Florida. Like, he goes out and polices. Steven Seagal, the fat bastard that he is, is a sworn police officer and still goes out and does things. If you're going to run your mouth, go out and do something about it. Back it up with action.
Right.
And that's what we need to be teaching our kids.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't need to celebritize and celebrate guys that punch their wives.
Right. Or
the NFL, they make all this talk about, they had an entire meeting today and clogged up, their owners and their business, partners' times and the players' representative time talking about a protest. Where was that meeting when there's an epidemic of drug-fueled domestic violence?
Or even violence, or even violence against animals, right?
Right? Like our social media has been clogged the last week with this heartbreaking hashtag of Me Too. And it's heartbreaking to see how many of the women in my life the friends, the mothers, the sisters that have put this hashtag Me Too, saying that they've been abused, they've been assaulted. Um, it's heartbreaking. You know, where was where was their protest?
Right, right.
You know, when
And
Ray Rice is knocking out his fiance, and when I say knocking her out, I don't mean just out of consciousness, but right out of that damn elevator.
right.
Like,
And then dragged her out
like
of there. Yeah.
you
There was
like,
look what Michael Vick did, and they gladly welcomed him back, right, to
like
perform.
we celebrate and celebritize, and there's no consequences for bad behavior.
Right.
You know, like you want to act the fool, lose your job.
Yep.
If I beat my wife, which I'll never do, I've never raised a hand to a woman. I never will because my dad raised me better than that. But if I did that on active duty, there's this thing called the Lautenberg Amendment, where I'd lose my job.
Yep.
You know, like have accountability.
Yeah.
You know, have accountability. Stop celebritizing bad behavior. Stop honoring those that because they can do something that you think is important. Catching a football isn't important. Shooting a puck isn't important. I'm the biggest sports fan you'll meet. I'm a season ticket holder to the great Texas Stars. I love all sports. I could sit and watch volleyball all night long. I could watch softball all night long. My kids are involved in it. Love sports. But that's not what makes you a hero. That's not what makes you a role model. What makes you a hero and makes you a role model is not what you do on the field, on the court, on the rink. It's what you do outside of that. That's why guys that while they're belligerent and jackasses on the ice like PK Subban are beloved because the first thing he does when he goes to a new city is he goes to the children's hospital and he does things. That's why guys that are immortalized like the great Franco Harris are loved. It isn't because this one time he caught this ball that no one else could catch and it was the immaculate reception. No, it's because for the last 19 years, he's held a fundraising party at the Super Bowl to raise millions of dollars to help local children's hospitals and veteran causes. That's what makes you a hero.
Right.
That's what makes you a role model.
And even those that don't have a platform that aren't in the public eye, but the ones the countless thousands, if not tens of thousands, especially over the last few months, that have stepped up and helped out people through natural disasters or through a murderous asshole or whatever. The guy that got into it, the dude got into it with Dakota, Meyer, the guy that Instagram videoed himself running from fire. Yeah, he thinks he's important because he's on 1 million something Instagram followers. That don't mean jack squat, right? Unless you think you're gonna get that put on your tombstone, and by the time you die, people are gonna know what Instagram is. He's not. I mean, it's the guy that it's the officers, it's the vets, it's the people that aren't vets, whatever, that were grabbing people, that were shielding people, that were running into the fire. People that will never have a platform. If they were lucky, maybe they got interviewed on a news thing after, but no one will ever know about. Those are truly the heroes, right? Just like we talked about earlier, those are truly what America's about. It's not the people that turn the camera on themselves and video themselves running across and then running up to a cop and asking for their gun.
Yeah, because that always works, and that's always what he wants to do. And on that topic, earlier today, this is a true story. Earlier today on the show, I gave a shout out to Jay Pappas, Julian Pappas, Metro Las Vegas Police Department. True story. He's choked out Dan Blazarian. He's choked him out. I got a great picture of that dude with that dude underneath him in a triangle, getting choked out, going off to see the wizard, and him giving it like the hang loose to the camera because like that's how like threatening this punk ass was. So Julian can do that. I got my money on Dakota with his like Mac, whatever they call it, like in the Marine Corps, the Mac Mev, martial arts, where they wear the different belts.
Yeah.
If Dakota's entry level, which I highly doubt because he was an NCO in the infantry, so you have to be more than that. I'm gonna go to SHOT Show this year just so I can watch that ass whooping.
Is that gonna be the main event there?
But I also think that there's gonna be a lot of people that try and get the jump on Dakota. Like Dan Blazarian, has gone around. He paid millions of dollars so that he could be in the movie Lone Survivor as a SEAL. He didn't get enough time in Lone Survivor, so he's like suing the film company Paramount, because he didn't get enough airtime. He paid millions of dollars. He was supposed to have a speaking role. They cut his speaking role, so he's suing them. Right? We're talking about the biggest punk.
I didn't know about any of that. Wow.
Oh, dude, this dude's the biggest punk. But he like, on Instagram is like, look at my bitches, look at my guns. Like the dude's like the worst example of man. He like all definitions of manhood that I know, he like fails at. I can't wait for SHOT Show this year because I got money that says every swinging Richard that thinks they're half an operator is gonna take a shot at that dude. Like everybody's like, oh, like I'm gonna get famous because I'm gonna punch out Blazarian. Like that dude, if he wasn't a target before, every club that dude goes into from now on, like some wannabe fob, it's gonna be like, I'm about to be famous, and all you gotta do is pop that dude one time, and you're famous. Like I beat up Blazarian.
All you need
And
somebody. All you need is a friend with a camera streaming that.
Dude, and everybody like, and I know it can be done. Jay's a skilled jiu-jitsu practitioner, so I'm not degrading his abilities, but I know like this dude is not what he talks up to be. I think Jay was a blue belt when he choked him out. Like he's not all that.
Right.
He's just a punk, and I look forward to that. And I think it's great for the veteran community. It's great for the veteran community to rally around somebody and say, hey, look, Dakota Meyer, people are, Blazarian brought up the comment that, his citation doesn't match the video and all that stuff. It doesn't matter. What matters is here's a guy that was put in a situation that he didn't want to be put in, both that day in the firefight and both after receiving that award.
Right.
And what has he done with it? He's turned that power to good. He's traveling the country with my old boss, Colonel Chuck Hodges, helping guys getting jobs. He's helping guys and gals transition and getting jobs. He's helping people like not stick the gun in their mouth. He's helping them like pull it out. Like
no, I'm
say
with
what
you.
you want about the guy. Say, you don't like that he married a Palin. Whatever. There isn't a guy in America that hasn't looked at Sarah Palin or any of her children, her daughters anyway, and said like, yeah, she's hot.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what you were going to say there. I was anticipating on the edge of my seat.
No, I mean,
but no, you're right. You're right. I mean, yeah, but it doesn't matter who he married. He could marry half pair of pliers, right? The guy is giving back, and
this dude is doing good things. He's using his power for good, and you want to like attack him because like you're a dumbass that like filmed yourself running away from a massacre instead of providing aid.
Right.
If your first instinct is to go to your camera and not your skills, you don't have the skills to be in our world.
Wow. There we go.
Like, yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I hear you. Hey, I want to shift topics real quick. We're getting probably need to be near the end of our show. It's almost an hour or something in. But I want to just kind of give a shout out and kind of do a little just a dedication. We talked about heroes earlier, and this is something that isn't really outside of the Western New York area because it just I don't know why it's not. I would think it would have been bigger news. But today we had a very sad and somber event happen in Western New York 5 days ago. A young man, 34-year-old Craig Lehner, he's a Buffalo police officer. He was a K-9 officer. He was also on the Buffalo dive team, was doing training in some very, very treacherous water in the Niagara River, about 13 to 15 knot water. They train there because it's the worst water there is to train in. And he went missing. Tether broke. They actually have to tether up because it's so tough in there. And he had tethered up. They snapped, and it was an international effort. We had law enforcement agencies from all over the state, including NYPD, the U.S. Army, Coast Guard, the Canadian military, and law enforcement came over, and it's been a 5-day search effort. Not only was he a man in blue, that gave back, but he used to be a man in green. He actually served in the armory that I used to work in. He was with the 105th MP Company, had an Iraq deployment and Gitmo deployment, had worked protecting the nuclear power plants in New York State. Several people I know knew him well or were good friends with him. And today I mean, it's been nonstop here in Western New York. This has been all the news. Is they have not given up. They have been out there with every piece of equipment they could. Hopefully, it was a search, rescue mission at first for the first 2 or 3 days, and
recovery.
They knew it was recovery. Today they found him. They blocked off the roads. The cops and the firemen lined up in the streets. They had a huge procession, and they brought his body out and took him to a local hospital. But just a big shout out to a guy who was in green and then he was in blue, made the ultimate sacrifice. And Toby, just like in the military, just like the 4SF guys that were just killed in Africa, they could not be in combat. They could be training, doing their stuff, just like many soldiers have and military have lost their lives over the years in peacetime. They're doing the same thing. And he was, he protected this country, and now he's protecting the people of the city of Buffalo. Had a phenomenal dog. Canine was the first officer to name his canine after a fallen officer. He was the very first one to do that. And unfortunately, they found him today. Yeah, it is. But you know what? They've got closure. They got his back, and it's hopefully going to help his family. But just a kind of a dedication to him and a dedication. We talked about heroes a lot tonight, and what an example of one is. And this is Craig was definitely an example of one. I never knew him, never met him. I don't think I've ever met him, even though we served in the same areas. But just a very somber thing for here in the Western New York area. And unfortunately, it didn't get the coverage I think it should have nationally, because it was an international effort to find him. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there before we closed out.
Yeah, no. One of the things that I love about this show is that we have these two national perspectives. Even though we're both very Americanized and American, I'll never forget where I come from. I'm currently a Canadian. Until I get sworn in as American, I will be a Canadian. We too often forget, how tightly knit our two countries, our histories are, and our love for each other are. And like we saw after 9/11 in Newfoundland, with all the planes that got rerouted and landed there, so that they could get out of the airspace, to the situation this past week, 2 weeks in the Buffalo area there. Like, doesn't matter what side of the border you're on, we're clearly on the same team. We clearly follow the same principles and character model, that the same social contracts. And I'm proud that my people would not just sit by idly and not dredge the water. It shows the compassion that both countries have, because you and I have both been in places in the world where a body of water separated them. In fact, I live in a state where a body of water separates me from another country, and that country is the most violent place on earth, and they wouldn't do shit to help us do anything except talk smack in the media.
Yep.
So I'm proud to hear that my countrymen responded in such a way. It's honoring to their country, it's honoring to North America, and it's honoring to our God.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, no, I thought I just wanted to put that out there. Like I say, it was a pretty significant event here, even though I know it wasn't much of anything. But anyways, yeah, a lot of things going on. I know we covered a lot of stuff tonight. We had kind of a rough start, but I think the show came out good. The reports I was getting, we were getting a lot of people commenting, on what the good quality and the video audio were tonight. So I'm glad it came out. Those that stuck with us, including Toby, who you don't know, but was getting a little frustrated repeating getting the same story over and over and over. It was like, how many more times do I got to say this? Yeah. So we appreciate you joining us. We keep telling you we got big shows coming up. Boy, we can't even. I wish we could talk about. But we hopefully by this weekend we'll be able to talk about who's coming on next week. Let's just say we have generals from the military to generals in the media in the entertainment industry coming lined up on this show, and you could consider one of those literally and one of those figuratively. So actually, he's an honorary captain, to be quite honest, in the U.S. military, but I call him a general of the entertainment industry. So we got a lot of people coming up. We've been lining it up. Toby, as you know, has been out the last couple weeks. Glad to have him back. Still doing great things with VO, as you said at the start of the show. You got another one coming up, and great things happening. Like the new studio you got there, Toby. You got got a little bit of decor in the background, and got a big book collection. You got a lot of reading to do.
So everything that you see right here on this row, so on that row, on this row, and half of that row down there, those are all veteran or contemporary military written books. Everything on these bookshelves has been read. Many of these are past show guests, and I just love hearing the positive stories about our community and what our generation, the generation before us, have accomplished. Guys like, we got who second to last leave. The Lauren Bruner story. Guys like from World War II, all the way to Joe Kapazinski back in the fight. The first amputee ranger to get back within Ranger Regiment and deploy. Guys from Joe Cap to Lauren Bruner. I'm a big fan of both those guys. I believe that we're going to get Cap on the show here in the near future. Pretty excited about that. But I just love the positive stories. We look around our community every day and we see like amazing stuff from young women that want to bike across the country to guys that have lost their leg and go back on active duty. On Thursday of this week, 2 days from now, I'm taking a single leg amputee on an amazing adventure. But this guy lost his leg as a first sergeant in the infantry to a house bed while setting up a CCP, and then came back to that very same unit as his position as a first sergeant, and then cussed guys out for falling out of runs as he ran with one leg beside him. And we see amazing things. We're so blessed to have people like that in our lives to witness it. I encourage more people to pick up the written word and hear this stuff, read this stuff, be part of it. America,
that's right. In Canada, the as you want one more testament to that. The first Buffalo Sabres game. Not only did everyone stand for the national anthem, they stood for both national anthems, right? So definitely, hockey does bring us together. So, with that being said, Toby, I think we had a great show. Even though it started off rough, I want to thank everyone for joining us and coming on tonight and rejoining us a few times. Thank you for being part of it. And Toby, thanks. Welcome back, my brother. You'll be back. You'll be here next week, right?
Next week, yep. We will be large and in charge with a special guest.
We will. We will have. I think we've got the stuff figured out. We have to be by next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you all then. Until then, we'll have a good one. Keep your powder dry, and keep your magazine stacked. I guess we could say that, right? I don't know. Is that
yes?
Okay.
You can stack them.
Okay, we can stack them. All right.
But we're not talking about like in the bathroom, like an old mag. We're talking about bullets, rounds.
So yeah. Anyways, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining us. We will see you all next week, 8:00 Eastern, Tuesday, here on Stu and the Nunn. Find us on all 5 of our channels: Spreaker, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and of course Facebook Live. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stu and the Nunn Radio. We hope you enjoyed your time with us because we have enjoyed sharing our time with you. Be sure to check out stewandthenunn.com in addition to asking us questions and interacting with us on our Facebook page and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Spreaker and Facebook Live. Also, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Warrior Media Solutions, BlueHammer.com, Veteran Outdoors, Graybeard Publishing, and Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and have a good night.